the question that you had was about the cross-tab reports. So cross-tabs, these are the text reports. So whatever you could doing here. So a cross-tab. So first thing is, the way you can create cross-tab is if you're aware of the layout that you want. So that this a basic tab like this, and you just drag the segment, and then if you know what details you're looking at, so you can just drag those here, and then put the discount or the profit and things like that. So those become, this is nothing but a cross tab. So if you want to add multiple measures into a cross tab, so the way how you do it is like drag the measure name over to the columns here, and then you have the measure values. So drag the measure values to the text. Okay. So what it does is it based on whatever measures you have, all the measures would get carried on to your crosstab report. So this is a basic crosstab report here. So most of the time in Tableau you would be doing your visualizations and dashboarding, wherein you would be building a lot of charts and graphs. So and there are but times when you want to have quick data, just to show a quick data to the business users. So sometimes what they would want to do is, after going through those dashboards at a high level summary, sometimes they would want to look at the detailed reports. So for that, this cross tab would be useful. So for example, if we had any dashboard like this, which is like at a higher level, so they would see this, and then they want to see what are the guys who fall into this category. This is when, and what are the details that about these orders here. So that is when actually we can build this cross-tab dashboards, cross-tab reports, and then put them into a dashboard, and then help them navigate to that. Okay, so this is the basic cross-tab report. Here, once you have this, what we did right now is just drag this measure over here, measure value, measure names here from the dimension section, and the measure values, whatever measure values are there from the measure section. So we just drag those things onto the columns and onto the text here. So now what you see here is a crosstab with a header. Headers are these rows. So this customer segment and this order priority, these two are the headers right now. And then from here onwards, it is the data. It's the real measures that you would like to see. So when we just drag this measure names and measure values, all the measures that you have would get dragged onto the report. So sometimes you might not want to see that. So this is like something like a number of records, which is automatically generated by Tableau. So probably you might not want to have that in your view. So you can just go and remove that, and then profit, sales, and then you might want to have all the others things. This date difference you might not want to have, and then this length custom. This is something we created for some other view. So you could just remove those things. Whichever you do not want, you can remove those. Then this is retained. This can remove this. So you have a cross tab wherein you are showing your discount, your order quantity, and if you want to reorder these things, just put them. You can use this shelf here, the measure value shelf, to actually reorder stuff. So you can just move them around and all those things. And then the final part in a cross tab would be like just the formatting. So you can actually go ahead and do this formatting based on however you want it to. This format section here, it will give you a lot of features to format as we had discussed. So first one is like the form. You can format the text, the font color, and all the font information. And then you also can do some shading if you want. So if you see here, this is for the header. So you would have for the header and then for the pane. So header is this part here, and then you can actually go and make this probably a little bigger. All those things you can do. So you keep it at 8 and then change the. And then you can do some shadings if you want, or just create some borders and things like that. Because generally in when you're doing a cross tab, it's better you can just put some things like a row divider, or you can see those different lines that come up here, so that it's kind of clear, when you creating these reports. And if you want to, I mean, it's not mandatory. I mean, these are all formatting options that Tableau provides you. So you can actually, if you want, you can go ahead with doing all this formatting. And also, as I had shown earlier, so you can actually go ahead and add these totals. If you want to add some totals in like the columns, then you can just go and format this with some shading. So it is formatting this header here, you see. So grand total also, if you want to make the grand total bigger, so something like this. So this is a basic crosstab report. So this is one way of building it, and the other way would be just dragging this thing information here, and then time to shape or whatever you want to add, a couple of things. And then what you can do is just right click here and say duplicate as crosstab. So it will actually create a crosstab for us. So this is a simple report which actually is used to provide the detailed information to the user. Probably not at the detail level, so it would be generally at probably the order level. Because order level, if we show all the details, it will take a long time, because to load all the data. So I can show you that. So if I test so see, now it takes a long time to load and refresh and all if I make any changes. So it is generally when we have a high level information and then you drill down into a small section and you want to show the small section. So that's the crosstab functionality.
The only thing is I couldn't access the coffee chain dataset.
Oh, okay, that's an access dataset which comes along with it. Okay, so it's an access database. So it would come up over here. So you can just check if it is available. It should be just an access database. I think it should be available for you to access, but then yeah, okay. Fine. Yeah, that should be okay. I mean, if it's not this one, what probably you can also build a dashboard with any of the other sample data sets that's available. Or else one more thing that you could do is you can actually just build your own Excel database or something like that, just data set, something that it's any information that you would want to represent in terms of visualize about, like any information for that matter. The vehicle, I mean, there's a lot of information that would be available, so you can just build something on your own and then try visualizing it also, or something of that sort. Or else, what I can do is, there is one more thing that I was actually planning to do is that, as Ravi was suggesting that day, I can try to build one data set, which is not very in the right structure, so to say. I mean, so we can I just send that data set also, which we can actually then work out how to convert it into a tabular data set and then create that. So that is something that we will do during the.
Prashant, I have a simple data set for Northwind database.
Okay.
In Excel, like it's a simple supply chain kind of a thing with products and some sales and orders and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And if you want, I can zip that in email. It's in Excel. It's very small size.
Okay. So this is something like, is it unstructured or is it already structured in a tabular format?
It is structured in a Tableau. I mean, it is in a spreadsheets, in multiple spreadsheets, like orders in one, products in one.
Oh yeah,
and they're all kind of linked.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So the only thing what probably we need to do is from there see how we can get that into the model what Tableau likes.
Yeah, right. And then any more questions on like whatever we've covered till now? I'll just probably run through what we did last in the last class. It's been spend some time. So we'd actually done this forecasting and how Tableau helps us forecast. We had just seen that it's a simple forecast model that it gives, and it you can actually go and just see how it forecasts for us, what model it builds, and then if you want to include the seasonality or to remove the seasonality, we could do that, and then some of the other features like the drop lines, the summary cards that Tableau provides, and then how to describe the view and all those things. So annotations and mark labels, how we can annotate, create mark labels and all those things. And then we went through those functions, the logical functions, and then all the different ones, working with the dates, how we can change from a level of the dates, right from a year to the quarter and then month and stuff like that. And also we saw how to change from a discrete to a continuous date and what's the difference, how the plots would be different if we use one of these dates, and then how to convert a normal date into a fiscal date based on the date format that is followed in the mini company. So that's something we went through. So this is how we can actually go ahead, and just change the default properties and say we start the fiscal year from April or something, and then whenever you use this that particular date, it would always go into a fiscal year and the quarter format. And then we actually ran through created a quick dashboard and then how we put things together on that. So all those things we saw, and then we also saw about the filter actions and the highlight actions, and URL actions also we saw. Okay, so this is what we covered in the last class. What I have done today is I've built another dashboard here, which is having what we did the other day was just running through quickly and creating some dashboards. So here what I've done is I've just included some kind of formatting and stuff, so that colors, and you can do shadings and all those things, and what kind of different colors you could do. So if you see here, what I have done is created this sales dashboard. So what I've done here is so it's again based on the sample data set, where we're trying to create this dashboard. So this is a high level dashboard wherein you have I'm sure I want to, the management would like to see what's the sales by region, what's my sales by region, and then what's then by product category, and then the various customer segments that I have, and what is the different ship mode that are actually involved. And then also if you see, we also put something like order priority. So there's a lot of information that is coming in this small little dashboard, and also these two over here are showing at the high level or at the region and at the category level, product category level. And this dashboard here is actually including a lot of information. So I just want to see what customer segment is being catered, and in what chip modes are there, and then inside that again I want to see what is the different order priority. So if you see here, this is called the stack bar chart, so this same information could be represented in different ways. So this is something that will be helpful, when you are trying to compare the proportions of a particular dimension members, and then you also want to look at a different dimension, split it by or group it by a different dimension. So this gives a compact view, wherein you can actually see a lot of information in terms of the whatever sales numbers and all those things against many parameters. So you can here easily see that, okay, for my consumer customer, so which is the biggest, or so this is generally all the high orders are actually going in, so going in delivery truck or in the regular air. And again here you can see that most of the low orders are going in which of carriers, so which ship mode is being done, and then so various information that you would get. So if you can see that that's very small amount of stuff is carried through by the in the express air, and then it's the most in the corporate and probably the least in the small business sector, that kind of an information. And also you have there's this other dashboard, which is again which is giving information about the sales versus profit trend. So we've seen the sales dashboard. Now I want to see what's the profit against it. So this is on a blended axis. So you have this sales happening, and then you see what's profit in that in the same range or date range basically. So this is like you have the dates here. You have it's plotted by per month, so you can see what's the month. Okay, it's a small like in a small space you can actually draw this, and then you can also have the order date filter here. So this is how you can actually build an order date filter wherein you can actually give a range of dates that you will want to look at, and then slide with a slider, so that if you want, there is any particular date range that you are interested in looking at the sales, you can actually just go and use this to find out and filter your information, filter the data that's coming into the dashboard. And also here, this is nothing but a subcategory. Again, this is a sheet with the dashboard. I mean, a view wherein we are just doing it by subcategory. So you can see what's the sale, what's the profit. This is basically the profit by subcategory. So now I know this is my profit that trend. So but then what are all my subcategories that is doing well and what's not doing good. So that information will be given here. And then this is a simple trend chart, it's scatter plot wherein I'm telling you that okay, so this is the sales and this is your profit, and then how each of your subcategories here, so against this you can see like which subcategory is making a good profit against the sales that it's doing, so all this information. And here again you have this feature of just having an highlight action, so that you can see like this, if you just highlight this, so you want to see where each of this, so bookcases is one of the subcategories, so it's actually doing here. So it's actually a loss over here, bookcases, and where how the scatter plot is for this bookcases again, like for profit against sales. So even if there is good sales happening, the most of the things are over here. So this is, you see, like there is a good sales happening, but then it's all in the loss. It's all making loss. That kind of information would be given here. So this is one dashboard, and then again I've just created another dashboard here for the details. So you can see it's same information. When this is a cross tab again, so there is not much of formatting and stuff like that. So, but it just gives you one information about all the order details. So this is a cross tab again. So now we have this dashboard, and then on the left you see like all the tick marks here, and I'll just say that okay, these are the guys who are included. These are the sheets that I've included in this particular dashboard. So now when you're seeing this, workspace here, so you see a lot of, and then you have these dashboards and all. So when actually you built a dashboard and you don't really, you're ready for it to be published and given it to the users. So what you can do is actually just go, and there is something like hide sheet. So you can actually go and hide these sheets, single, or you can just choose all of them here, whichever is included in the dashboard it will allow you to hide them. And the ones that are not, if there is any sheet then in your workbook that is not included in any of your dashboards, then it will not allow you to hide, because it can only be hidden when it's in use in some other dashboard. So all these things you can go and hide this, so then you will see that you have just, so I can just delete this because I don't need this anymore. So I have this sheet, and then I can go ahead and delete this. So now you see that there is no clutter, and there's only just 3 tabs here representing my 3 dashboards. Okay, so this is how we would generally do a dashboard. Dashboard, once we created the dashboard, we would have it in this way before we publish it. So, but now if you see, the navigation is always through these tabs here. But if I want to build a navigation, so I can actually go ahead and create a navigation, some kind of navigation wherein I can actually go ahead and create. I will show that a little later from navigation from one sheet to another. So if you want to create some kind of a navigation link or a navigation button, so Tableau doesn't provide that by default. So we would actually have to go ahead and create a sheet and then give it some functionality. So I will be creating that and showing it to you. This dashboard is giving me a whole picture of the sales. So what if I want to see only on the central region? So that's when I actually do this, and I click on this, and all of this information gets filtered. So it's only this one that's getting filtered now on the central region. So now if I want to see central region and technology, I can just click on this, and this one here will get filtered on what I select on this dashboard. So it's more like a analytics, guided analytics kind of a thing, so wherein you don't really, it could also be designed in such a way that there is only one report that comes up, and then when you click on that, one of that shows up, and then you click on this, the other one also shows up. But for that, we'll have to plan the dashboard layouts and all properly, so that it doesn't look empty when somebody first looks at it, because there'll be just one chart over here, and then you bring up more charts as and when the user clicks it. So this is one type of navigation and the interactivity which we can build. So this is it. This is one thing. And if I want to navigate from this to the sales and profit dashboard, then how do we do it? So I'll just go ahead and build that navigation for you guys. So generally what you would have to do is just create a calculated field here, either from right clicking here or just going here and create calculated field, and then I would say I would call it navigate to sales and profit dashboard. Okay, that would give some text asking the user to click here for this profit dashboard. Say okay. So you'll find it here. It's a text calculated field with the data type text. So you can just drag that into your row and column. Okay, and then drag that into your text as well. And if you see, like, I just removed this show header thing. So if you keep the show header, it would show all the headers that we have. So headers are nothing but the headers for these rows and columns, but I don't want that to appear. So I'll just say remove the header basically. So uncheck the show header. I can just go ahead and format this. Okay, so I've created this sheet. Now I'll call this navigation 1. Okay, so I have this sheet now. So I'll go here and I'll drag this sheet over to this place, or probably over to here. Okay, so now you see that it's not fitting properly here, and it's looking a little out of place. So what you can do here is, this first thing is hide the title. Okay, and then make it fit with here. So what it does, it removes the header, the title basically, and then it fits this. So there are the different ways how you can fit your objects into the container. So this is this over here, which gets highlighted. So that's the basic container for that sheet. So, and how I want to fit it, so it could be like a fit entire view, wherein how much of space is that, it just gets spread into that, or you can just say normal fit height, or then generally it is like based on the kind of layout that you're doing, and then the kind of containers that you are using. So you can use one of these bits. And then you see these borders and stuff that I've given. So those are simple. For each of that, designing takes a little bit of effort in this. Sometimes, creating the sheets itself is pretty easy. So you'll have to go create pull a container and then put this into a container and then just select the layout container and then you will have to format it. So you can give border here and stuff. Yeah. So this is how we can do it. So you can expand this probably, and you can just resize your view as per your requirement. You can just resize the view as I set here based on the type of like the equipment or the device which the users are going to use for this. So based on that we can select your sizing. Okay, so I'll probably it'll take a little bit of formatting to remove this scroll bar that's come up, so we can get rid of that. Yeah, yeah. So now we have this. Like this can be used as a navigation. So now, how to do the navigation? So if I click on this, it's not going to go. And you see now, this is called the tooltip, right? I mean, there's a tooltip in every sheet that comes up, but in here you wouldn't want the tooltip to appear because you don't want to show any information other than the users to come and click on this. So what we can do is just either go to the sheet or just go here, click on the sheet here, worksheet, tooltips, just remove this, just remove the information, just delete this, say okay. So now you will not get any tooltip when the user hovers on that. Okay. So now, but even if I click, there's nothing happening, so how do we have to actually introduce the navigation, the interaction between this sheet and what has to happen to that sheet. Okay. So what I was saying is, we have this thing. So how do we create this interactivity? So what we have to do is, you remember we had talked about the actions, so all these things that we had done is actions, using actions, this interactivity. So that is like a filter action. So now we have to create the same filter action, which should allow us to navigate from one dashboard to other. So you just go here and then create actions. So, and you can actually name them appropriately so that we don't, because now generally when we're creating a dashboard, you'll have a lot of dashboards and a lot of actions created on each of the dashboards. So there's always a possibility that there might be some things not working in one of the actions, and then you want to identify what that is, quickly get into this actions dialog here and then find out. And then when if they're not named properly, right, when you have like 20, 30 actions running on one dashboard, it will be very confusing. So it's always better to name them properly, like what is this action doing, so that you know which one to attack when there's any problem. You can say navigate to that sales and profit, and then just select that sheet, and then select the dashboard, the particular dashboard that you want to go to. And this is like how you want to run the action. So we want to run it when the user selects this navigation. So that means when he clicks on this. Okay, and this one tells you like if there is any filter that you would like to apply on that sheet when it's navigating. So sometimes you might want to, or you don't want to at this point of time, to be any filter to be applied on the sheets that is there on the other dashboard. So you can just remove that. So now we have this. So you just click on this one. So it will navigate through this. Okay. So this is how you would build the navigation. Also, there would be navigation available on these tabs, but then if you want to have some flow set, so that even if it's not in this right order here, and you want the user to actually go ahead and follow a particular order, so that's when these things could be used. So you can create this dashboard actions, and then create these navigation buttons and go forward. So now that we have created this navigation into this dashboard, and then here also it is more like a summary. So I have those information. I have the sales and profit rank for you, and then per category and per subcategory. So now, and also we have the scatter plot. So what if I want to see who are the people who are making loss? These people. So what I can do is I can just select these, and you see that I'm navigating to the next over the dashboard over here, which is the order details dashboard, and it is. And if you've noticed, it is filtering on just the orders that I actually selected. So that's achieved by another action again. So if I just want to look at one guy, I can just click here and then it would show me that details about that one person. So it's just something again which we use as an action. So I'll just show you the action that's already created for this. So this is the action which is created. So here it says, when I click on the sales and profit dashboard, when I click on the sales versus profit report, what do I want it to do? So what I want it to navigate to the order details dashboard, and then if you see here the filter, so I've said okay, filter on the details sheet which is there on the order details dashboard. This is the dashboard here, and this is the sheet. So since that dashboard has only one sheet, it just displays this one sheet, and I have selected the filters to be applied on this details sheet. So that's why you would see that when I navigate here, when I click on this, if I click on anywhere else, nothing happens because I'm not selecting any mark. So each of this is called a mark, a data point, right? So I just do this, and then it will show me all the details. So I can just then go and look at whichever things I want to look at. Okay, so this is in a way. So now what you would want to do is, so you want to probably have another filter. This, I mean, a navigation to come back, so go back. So you can create a back button, just the way we created this navigate button over here. Now we click here for the profit kind of a thing, so you can use this similar technique and then build a back navigation button here so that the user can then use that to go back to whichever sheet he wants to. So you can give multiple choices, so it's something like, you have navigate to profit dashboard, or else you can actually give another like a navigation button which will take them to the order details dashboard itself. So based on the flow, based on the business requirement, and how you want to build the dashboard, so you can build the flow and the navigations and all those things. So this is like a very basic dashboard, but then this is the general idea. I mean, this is how you would probably go ahead and create a dashboard. So I giving them a high level information about how things are happening in whatever the subject area it is. If you want to look at the number, it could be for any this kind of organization which is actually looking at sales by central, west or region, and then they might be having different product categories and then different ship modes. So we just give the overall picture in a single dashboard and then allow them to navigate or drill down into specifics by either giving this kind of things and using the navigation. And if you see here, what I have done is, on this bar chart, basically, there's one line that runs now, which is the average. So you can also see now that the average profit across all your subcategories, product subcategories, is like $89,516. So it easily tells you that okay, these guys still here, are the ones who are like making profit, or they are above our average. These guys here are below average, so you also know about that. So this is a simple, reference line that you can put and get information. And what I've done here is again given a trend line, which again gives the value, how it's calculating this trend line, the model, the linear regression model. And then gives the trend line. So we can actually do a lot of things, that tells, okay, if anything that's below the trend line, that's how the standard deviation and all those things, standard error and all those information, or statistical information if you want to derive out of this. And then finally you go into a detailed dashboard where you want to, where just to see, okay, I want to see these guys who are making loss, so profit is negative here, which means these orders have been making losses, so why, what are the problem? So who've been those customers, and then what the products that they brought, and all those information if you want to drill down, and then what happens is in the real business scenario, based on information that they find through these analysis that we do, they would then probably take an action, the future course of action as to like whether to talk to them or talk to those department people or the who manage these product subcategories, all the sales, and then find out why it's not doing good, or that kind of future actions would be course of actions would be taken based on the analysis that is done. So this is a simple dashboard. So I'll just show you a little bit of like the parameters, how we can use parameters and make use of them, and stuff like that. Before that, before I go into this, so you have any questions? So what I've done again here is it's very if you see the previous dashboard, whatever we created, it's pretty plain, like white, and there is not much of there's not much of formatting done over here. So you can actually spend some generally spend some time, and this probably is not the best like color combination and all those things, but then you can actually do that, so we can actually build dashboards which are like have based on, it could also be based on the business requirements, so some based on your client, they would be having generally each company, if you notice, they would be having a particular color as their main color, so that whenever we're building, we would generally decide like, okay, this is probably the color that we've got to choose, and then make that as a major color in the dashboard, and then try using those colors and text like that. So that's the thing, and you can put like borders to all these things, so if you see here, when I'm highlighting, it just highlights the layout containers. So this wouldn't happen when it's actually published onto the web server. So when we have it on the web, if you have the data with us, it generally doesn't take much time at all to build something like this. It takes very very short amount of time. Probably you could even build this, or somebody who's been using Tableau for some time. So we could actually do it within a few hours. And one single dashboard, it will be done within probably like 20-30 minutes. Also, we could just finish that and then turn it around. So that's one main advantage of Tableau. So once we have the data ready, it's pretty simple, and build a lot of different reports. Not and unlike the traditional BI tools, wherein you will have to actually go through a lot of development cycle, and then there would be a lot of scripting and all involved generally to load the data, and then or else probably do a dimension modeling, and then put your data into a model, and then before you actually use them in the reporting tool, you'll have to build the dimensions, define the measures, and all those things. So those would be there. So that all those things shouldn't be necessary in Tableau. So once you have the information, you can just because once you connect to Tableau, it will automatically create the model for you. It identifies the dimensions and the measures, and then you can immediately start using them. And then you can there is this functionality would be automatically available to the users. You can just go and choose to either filter or the sort, basically the change the sort which is available. So all these things will be available even for the end user. So you can just go and change this, the way it is sorted or things like that. Okay, so what I do is, so there is some, I'll just build something here, something like now I have sales by product category here, and then I might want to actually give user the selection either to view the sales by category or to view the sales by product category on this part of the dashboard. So how do I do it? And there is always some requirement that comes up like that. Either it would be something like I want to see the data view of a particular data set, or do see the graphic view of it, which is probably which is like the graphs or dashboards that the bar charts or the pie charts that we have, or sometimes they would want to see the data view or in the same area. So how do we, how do we achieve it? So it's something like what here I would show is how to create in the same place, how to show either the sales by product category or sales by product subcategory. So now if you see, we already have created a sheet which is for the product subcategory, and it is available in this sales and profit dashboard. So if I want to include that sheet into my sales dashboard as well, so if I go here, you see that okay, it only shows me the sheets that is available in the that has been used in the in this particular dashboard. So what if I want to include the other one also here? So for that, actually we'll have to go to that sheet here. So either you can just to navigate to the sheet again, you can use this go to sheet button over here, this feature over there, or just click on this profit by subcategory and say go to sheet. Okay, so once I go to sheet, and I'll have to unhide that for it to be available for use in the other dashboards as well. So now you see when I come here to this main sales dashboard, it's available for us to use. So I can just go drag that here, or else I'd have to actually build a horizontal. I'll create a horizontal. You notice I'm just pulling a horizontal layout container over to here, and then I'm dragging this into that. Okay, I'm going to drag this guy also into inside the same container. Okay, so now we have this. So what I will do is now it's all together. So but I want to see only one at a time. One of the things at one of the sheets at a time based on some selection. So we can actually go and create a parameter. So I will just say analysis. I'll just create. Let's say create a parameter. Just show. So I'll create a parameter which got a name show, and then I'll say it's string type, and then not allowable values. I would say I want to create a list of values that would show there, and so I would say the first one would be show me the product category, okay, or product category. Okay, so it would show up like this for a category also. Change it. Okay. So I have this parameter. So if you see here, there's a new section that's come up saying parameter, and then it shows me the parameter. Yeah, so now I right click here and then say the show me parameter control. So now you see here that there is the parameter control which comes up for me to use in the sheet. So I'm in the sheet 9 where I'm not doing anything actually. I just came here to create this parameter. So now let me go to this dashboard here. And I'll go to the sheet. This is my product category sheet. So I go here, then I say, so we have this parameter show. Now, ideally, what I should be able to do is I should be doing is I should create a filter over here, which will which will actually create. And by the way, what was being shown here as a filter? I mean, there is no filter that we actually applied on the we created in this sheet, but you still see there's something on the filter shelf saying action region. So this is nothing but the action that we had created on the dashboard here to filter this information based on the region. Okay, so this is nothing but this action over here, this action here. So region is the filter. I mean, it gets filtered by the action that's generated over here. It filters all the other views by the region. So this is what automatically gets created. So if I use this navigation or you use this interactivity on the dashboard, what it's doing internally is creating a filter and then applying that region filter through the action. Okay. So since this is a generated action, I can actually remove that because it will not make a difference to me, because I can go back onto the dashboard and when the user selects the region again, that action filter will be applied onto this one, and then on the dashboard it would work as designed. Okay, so now I remove that because it's okay for it to be removed. It doesn't apply. It's not applied here anyway. So now what I will do is I'll just drag one of any one of the dimensions that's that I want, but it's not being actually used in the view. Okay, so I would just go and say I just take something like a row. No, row ID is a numeric. I can't do that. So I will take this customer name. Okay, I'll not apply a filter on this customer name. Actually, all I'm doing is I'm saying use all. I'm going to condition, and I'll create a formula here. I'll say show parameter show equal to product category. So what it does is it applies a filter here on the customer name, even though it's a little confusing. I'm not actually using the customer name filter here, but I'm just using any random dimension from my data set, and then I'm putting it here so that I can create a different filter within that on this parameter. So just don't go by the name of this the dimension that I've dragged onto the filter shelf, because that's not the one that I'm filtering on. So just create any filter. So now you see it's product category, and this is a product category sheet, and it's available for us to use. So if I just do a product subcategory, it just disappears. Okay, and I come back product category, it appears. So I will have to go here and do a similar thing, similar filter, which would then I'll say use all. You go to the condition and by formula, and here I would say show equal to product subcategory and apply. So now this should disappear because in the parameter it's a product category that's selected. So now if I go to the dashboard here, you would see this is not being shown. Okay. So now how do I change it? So that it appears only one appears when I've selected it. So now first thing we have to do is just get that parameter in the dashboard itself. So this is the guy. So we just grab him. We can put it somewhere here. Okay. Just quickly edit the title. Then we can just put a border and all those things. Now, so now what we have given the user the user the access to actually this filter of this parameter, so that he can choose what he wants to see. So even here now what we have to do is just hide the title. Okay, so now you see, okay, I'll just show again. Before I really hide the title, what I would do is just go to this sheet and fit width. Okay, and then I would say hide the title. So now it's gone. So now if I say product subcategory, this would appear here, but it is not going fully away, because this one is not going fully away because I still have the title which shows up. So I can just go and even to this sheet here, I would say fit width, and I would say remove the title. So now you have this. So either based on this selection here, either I can see product category or I can see product subcategory. So that is one way we can. And if you want to actually, now that there is no header for this, so if you don't know, like you would probably get confused as to which one is shown here. So for that you can actually create a simple header on your own. Yeah, I mean that would take something like, you'll have to be sure like how you are creating this, so you can actually, you'll have to be sure in terms of like you have what kind of the layout container you have used, and now actually you would need a vertical layout container to put this header. So I probably not go and just try to design this properly, because that would take time for me to figure out all the layout containers and then put them into a single thing. So I'll just show you like what we can do here is just create this action which will tell the text edit, which will tell you what which can be used as the header for this sheet. So here you can just say profit by, or sales or profit something, sales by product subcategory. So here I want that also to be dynamic, right? So I can just say sales by the parameter. Okay. So now here it's come up here. I'll just give this white color here. This is the filter. So I'll have to actually get this guy over here. So that is with some formatting. I would be able to do that. I wouldn't go into that. I'll just show you this thing. So now if I select the product category, so it changes to sales by product category. So I can actually, if it's over here, it's right on top. I'll put this guy. For now, I'll just put this guy here. So we can actually do a lot of filtering here, formatting here to make sure it looks right. Just get this sheet over here, and then this is next to each other. So first, for now, I'll just do this so that you can see even the header here changes, and then if we format the header similar to how these headers are, so it will look the same. So this is one way of actually giving the user some more interaction as to what if he wants to see a different kind of report at a different level, basically. So you can do that using this parameters. So we could achieve that using parameters. There is another use of the parameters, which is something like if you might have heard some nowadays. Maybe there's a lot of things happening about around the analytics, and then predictive analytics, and then there is something that's always used, the terminology like what if, can I do a what if analysis, things like that. So people generally ask that. So even though Tableau is not really a statistical or a predictive tool, so you cannot really do a great deal of those predictive analytics on this. But then it actually allows you some basic analytic abilities as to with the parameters. So parameters, using the parameter, you can actually create some kind of a predictive analytics. So that is something like I will just show you this. So I can actually just create a small graph here, a trend graph. So I'll just create a trend line here, and then I'll drag this. So I have this sales and the profit plotted on this graph. So things like, so consider now there is something in the profit. This is like a gross kind of a profit, and then I want to see what's my net profit based on whatever there might be something like a tax. So if there is something of sort of a tax that's applied on this, and then the tax would be generally like a whatever is this probably is applied at a default level. So now I'm having this information of what's my sales, the dollar sales, and then what's my profit, dollar profit. So now what I want to see is based on whatever information there might be change in the tax slab or something of that sort. Then I want to see how would it affect my profitability. So I can actually go and create a parameter called tax here, and then I would say give me a list again. So I would say okay, 30% or 40%, something like that. So I can display it as something different. So if you want to display it as percent, you can show that. So that it that's another thing I would like to highlight here, saying that like the value whatever you choose here. So this is the data type. That data type here would be applicable only to the value. So display as could be anything. So even if I have the value as integer here, so display is a text or a string display. So I'll just go and create this. So now you have this. I have this tax parameter here. So I can do this, and then I can create another calculated field on sales, sorry, on profit. So I'll create something like this, profit after tax, and then I'll include that also in this line. So now it shows me a line saying like what is my profit going to be, how is my profit trend going to look. I can just do it at a day. Okay, day we just rather do it at a week level. So this will give me a profit. So I'll probably have to change the color to make it visible. Yeah. Okay. And yeah. So this is a line. I mean, it shows this. This is the profit, and then this is the profit after tax. So based on whatever is the tax slab going to be. So tomorrow, if it's going to change, so I can actually just do this, and then it would just plot this line differently based on the calculation. So this is a kind of the basic what if analysis kind of a thing that Tableau allows us to do using parameters. So parameters allows us to do different things, like use them as a filter, or use it for some interactivity, and then use it also as a user input basically. So I can also, instead of having this as a drop down, I can also have it as a type in. So a user actually, since I have defined it as a list, so it will only allow us to enter either 30 or 40. But then if I can change it to a type in, and then allow it to have all values, so that user can go ahead and enter any values that is required. So like for now, even if I give 40, 45, it won't take. It will just take either 30 or 40. So this is a way how in one way like how we could use the parameter for the what if analysis. Then could be put into a dashboard, and then this parameter control can be made available there in the dashboard itself. So simply do this, then add the parameter. Yeah, so parameter control comes automatically with the sheet because it's being used in the sheet. So this would give the business an idea of how the profitability might be affected based on what different attacks. So this is what I'm showing is just for illustration. It's like very simple calculations. So this could be actually extended to like very complex calculations also. I mean, based on various different factors. So there might be like 15 different parameters that affect profitability. So all those things could be actually created as different parameters, and then apply those parameters dynamically, and then see how your profitability, and then just see how it trends over the period of time, and all those things can be visualized. This is something that I feel is a good feature, which probably it's not the when it's not the at the highest level of like predictive analytics, but then at a basic level, it provides the user this functionality. So along with some forecasting that Tableau by default provides, so this could be actually used to give the user a fair amount of predictive. So I think this is mainly these are the things that probably I would have wanted to like go through in terms of like building the sheets, and then like different filters, and then dashboards and all those things. The whole like all the things that you could do with most of the things actually that you could do with Tableau is just like uh, explained. So this is basically the functionality of Tableau, which would like get you going in terms of like creating sheets and dashboards and things like that. So and always there is more to learn. So as and when we actually creating and you get into the real dashboarding and stuff, so you get into some issues and then some debugging and all those things could be done. So again, here it's not like not like a any Java or a VC++ where you can run this in a debugging mode and all those things that will not be available. But then it is all pretty simple because there's not much of coding also. Like it's mostly at the functions that is available which you use in the calculated fields. It's mostly limited to that extent. So this probably is it from me in terms of the dashboards and all those things. So if there is now what we can do is any questions, any specifics that you want to again ask about or do we can discuss on that. Or else I can actually show there is some there's actually a white paper which again you remember Ravi, you were asking about server scalability and things like that. So there's actually a white paper by Tableau themselves on the server 7 that they had created. So I share that and just go through that briefly and also share that with you also. But that's based on the server scalability and how you can identify the like concurrent users and all those things.
Are there any best practices on this one?
Best practices would be like something what I had mentioned earlier. The first one would be like the first one, like I was explaining about how Tableau uses the caching, as one of the ways of improving the performance. So generally, if you have generally an exactly dashboard, which says the size is exactly this, or then size is exactly to one of these. So that's one thing that you could always do. Don't leave it at automatic. So don't leave it at automatic, so that because it will always then create different. It will have to create different image tiles based on the size of the dashboard, and then there would be a delay in displaying. I mean, even if the delay is pretty small, but then it will always help when we have a lot of users actually accessing this a single report. So if you always go for the exact size of the dashboard, it will always create an image style. So all these things, what Tableau does is when it renders, it will create into small images. So what you're seeing here as bar and chart, each of this would be a small image. So it will create image tiles, and then it will load them when it renders on the server. So if we keep it as exact, it will always know what is the size of the dashboard, and it will already have like kept in the memory these image tiles, and it can automatically like it picks that up and then show you immediately based on the who's accessing the report. So that is one best practice that you could do, and then also the best practice, I would say, like one of the things is again, it depends on how you want to visualize it and what type of. See this, for example, here, this is like a stacked bar chart, so this could be done in a different way altogether, so you can actually, instead of having this order priority in color, you can actually have it as a row, and then you can do it like this. So it depends on like how you want to do, how you want to show your report, so that see, this would be probably a very long kind of a sheet or a report or a view. So what happens is generally when we're looking at a dashboard, ideal the way is something like all the information should be available just by looking at it, and then there should not be any scrolling basically. So that's one of the best practices you could follow while designing the dashboard. So if see this now, I have said fit entire view, which in that case, just cramps things up, and then you're not really able to identify what's happening here, what's the information. And also you can actually then say no, okay, do it normal, and then in that case it just brings a scroll, and this is not very ideal, because when any like a business user or probably a CXO or somebody who's looking at these reports in a handheld device, so actually I want to avoid these scrolls, either vertical or a horizontal scroll, so that it's all available at a glance, so that's why you could do something. That's what we did, so just drag this into the color, and then it becomes a compact view, but still it actually includes all the information that you are actually looking at. So what you can do is, based on these kind of things, understand how much space is available and what kind of reports you're building and the dashboards you're building. So based on that, you can actually create these things. Okay. So this is one more thing is what probably I can tell you about is the tooltips. See now this tooltip. You can use this as a means to actually provide more information. So now let's go to the tooltip here and now. So I'll just show you the tooltip. Yeah, so you have this tooltip. You can actually make this look a lot pretty, and then have a lot of formatting done, and then also show the more information. If there is any more information that you might want to show, you can show that. Make this. So now it shows like this. So this is much more like if you want to highlight some information here, and then you can actually put that into your tooltip, and then so I there might be some more information that you might want to give, which is not available here. So again, that you can drag that into the level of details and then show that. But then what happens is you have to be sure like what kind of report you built. See now example, I'll show you one thing. So we have the order priority here. So if there is no region information, so I might want to put the region information in the tooltip. So but if I do it here, if I drag it into the details, the level of detail becomes again splits by region. So we would have to like really make sure like what kind of information that you want to show, and how you would want to display that. So if you want to show this, that's one way you can show. It will be more helpful when we are doing a cross tab. If you have only like 4 or 5 information that you're showing here in a cross tab, like only like 5 or 6 columns you are showing, and that, but then you also want to display the region information. So here we can actually do that by adding that to the level of details, because this is already at a order level. So I can also include this region in the details, and then in the tool I can just go to the tooltip here and include the region as well. And so now when you see that, you would have the region as well, even if it's not there on the view itself. So those kind of things you can do. So because that will avoid actually including excess information in the dashboard, just creating some basic information that you would want to show, and then the details you could just put that into the tooltip and then show them. So that here again on the tooltip itself, it gives users to either create filters, a kind of filters. So like for example, if I click on this and then I say exclude in the view, it just goes off from the view. It creates an exclude filter on that. So that is available. So you can actually keep it, or sometimes it is like confusing as to what happened. So by mistake also somebody might just click on this and then it might just exclude that from the view and all those things. So if you don't want to keep that, you can just use this include command buttons. Just uncheck that, and then you would not see that. It just a pop up. Which will show what's happening. That kind of thing. So this is one of the things that you can do to improve the like information, the way you give information to the users. That is one thing, and also there is something like I think in the first class or the second class when we yeah, first class I think. So when we spoke about connecting to the database, when you generally connect to a database, it allows us to create it allows us to create a extract. So this extracts are created in with like it's something like a in memory kind of a thing. So you can create extracts if your database, or it's generally helpful when you are connecting to like a Teradata or a big database, a big data warehouse, wherein you have like huge tables, and then you want information coming from those huge tables into your report. So at that point of time, you can actually go for extracts. The extract should be helpful because it will run these extracts, get that information, and then keep it on the server. So since it keeps it on the server and it's available within the server for this Tableau to interact with, it automatically becomes faster than actually connecting live to the database. So there is another thing about this extract is that it's not live data. So generally when we're building an BI OLAP kind of a report, it would not be on the OLTP. I mean, it's going to be on the or OLAP or the any data warehouse that we might have, either relational or like any multidimensional or something like that. So it would be available in the OLAPs. So generally, what happens is you would have either a daily load from the production into the data warehouse, on which this is available, or a weekly load based on different criteria, based on the kind of business that we are dealing with. So in that case, when it's a daily load into the data warehouse, so we can actually tie this extract creation to that the completion of those loads, so that if there are like 5 different tables our dashboard is connecting to, we can create an extract out of those 5 tables. Once those 5 tables have been loaded from production, and then we get a signal either through there are various different scheduling tools which we can use, something like an ESP or something of that sort, which will be used to schedule those production jobs. So once those are completed, then we can schedule our jobs, wherein the Tableau server will go ahead and kickstart the extract creation, and then it will get all the data from there. It will probably take, depending upon the size of the information, it might take it might be completed within 5 minutes, or it might, if it's really huge, it might even run into like a half an hour or even an hour. Okay, so it will create that extract and keep it on the server, and then that makes the interaction and the loading and the rendering of the report much faster. And we can schedule this loads daily, nightly, or based on that event. Whenever the load from the production completes into the data warehouse. So that is another thing that we could do. Also, like these are the basic things, and also there is something like you can include a sheet with just the information about this report if you want to add some documentation, because there is no other way you can put any documentation into this. So you can actually create a dashboard wherein you put the text, and then you put your some documentation about this report, and then the sheets, what each of the sheets is, and how, if there is any information that they would want, they can navigate to that help kind of sheet. So you can build that kind of a documentation, and then have that as a dashboard in your workbook, in your report. So that is something that we could do. And then visualization itself, there is something like there is generally there is a type of chart that you can use for a type of problem that we're trying to solve. So it depending upon what kind of information you're looking for. We'll have to come up with a different ideal chart for that. So Tableau, by default, it will give you suggestions as to, like, if you can just keep this up on here, and then you can see if I choose a measure, so and either a measure, or just select click control and then select things over here, and it will tell you what kind of charts are the best for this, whatever dimension and measures that you have chosen, and then also it will highlight the one that's the best. So if I do this, it would actually go ahead and give me the best suited chart for this information that I'm trying to plot. Again, that is again your choice. You might like this, or you might not like it, and then you might want to show it in a different way. So you can make that choice of doing it. So again, that another thing about the pie and the bar graph. So generally, pie charts are not very helpful. They are helpful, of course, but they're not very helpful when you have too many slices in the pie, or the splits. The slices of the pie are not very different size. So that because of that, what happens is generally there are certain places where you can use the pies, and certain places where you can avoid them. Generally, what happens is people always look for pie charts. So we can actually we can tell the users, so no, pies are okay for this report. I'll give you pie, but for this report you're asking pie chart, but then I cannot actually give you pie chart because of these reasons, and then we can tell the users about these things and then come up with the best visualization available for, or whichever is the best visualization for certain kind of data. So that is one thing we can do. And then again, this best practice, as I said, so filter versus the parameters, So whenever we're using, for example, if I'm using a product category, I need a product category filter, and then if it doesn't change that often, and there is no new product category added or deleted, then I can actually convert that into a parameter, so that it doesn't hit my database every time I'm trying to filter it on it. I'm trying to populate the quick filter. So if you see, we have this something called quick filters. The one that we use, we have been using regularly. So those quick filters, actually, what happens is it will hit the database every time. This, for example, here. So this will actually, when it's a quick filter, it will every time go and hit the database and get us the information. So you can, if there is something that doesn't change that often, you can bring that, you can create a parameter. And creating a parameter is simple, just go create a parameter on the product category, and then if you want to use this as a filter, then you can include this inside a create a product category filter here. And instead of using this, say use all, just go to the condition and say, and use this category equal to product category parameter. So why this is better is because it is a static list, and that's available within Tableau. So it doesn't have to go anywhere to fetch this information every time you want to. Every time a view refreshes and you want to use this filter, it is always available within Tableau. So it doesn't have to go to the database, fetch this information, and then again populate it. It is okay when we don't have too many records of data, but then when we are dealing with like millions of records of data, that time you would see the difference. So you can actually go for parameters. Again, it's not something that you can always do, because there are some things, I probably cannot do it for a product name, or I cannot probably do it for a product subcategory, because they're at a lower level, and then there's a possibility that always a new product is added, and then there is a new name given to it. It might belong to the same product category, but it might belong to a different subcategory, and new subcategory might be added. So there's some things that probably keep changing every 3 months or 4 months. Those kind of dimensions we cannot. It's advisable not to use parameters, because in that case, if you use you can use parameters very well, but then there will be maintenance required from our end. We'll have to all the time populate the parameter, refresh the parameter, and then publish it, because that's a limitation as of now in Tableau, that parameters are not dynamic, so they cannot be linked to a particular dimension in your database and then populate it based on every time there is a change in it. So that's probably something that that is being worked on by Tableau, probably to provide that kind of a feature as well. So that is another thing. So using a parameter as opposed to filter to speed up the like dashboard navigation and the load. And also, as I've been saying, so generally it's something like start your dashboard, the landing page as a very high level view of the data, or of something that you're trying to. So if it's a sales dashboard or it's a gross margin report, so I will show all the things at a very high level, and then give navigation drill downs basically to so that they can go and look at they don't have to have all the information at a single time. So like you just ask, build the flow in such a way that the user navigates through these sheets, and then finally goes to a place where they would want to see the reports, the details, and all those things. So from my like what I've seen is, generally when we started using Tableau, users were still used to seeing the detailed charts, the detailed report, the cross tabs. So they would actually ask for the report to be like a just like a tabular report wherein you have all the information thrown in. So then we would have to just tell the users, no, this wouldn't work, and also this would actually slow down all the dashboarding, and then the time taken for it to load would be huge because it is like you're trying to load all the data at the same time, and then they would try to drill down by using the filters. So we would say, no, we would give you at a high level, probably a bar chart, probably a pie chart, or something, some different kind of a chart at the top, and then you can use those, navigate, and then get into the detailed report by filtering using these navigations that is available, and then just see for the detail, just see the records that you are actually interested in. So this is the example, here. Uh, this is the example, and probably the user doesn't want to see all the. Obviously, he wouldn't want to see all the data, so based on some information that he would like to look into, you can actually go and see the detailed report. So that's again one of the things that we can do in terms of best practice. Always keep a flow in mind, and then suggest sometimes user wouldn't be aware of some things that you could do in Tableau, and then help them navigate, and then all this kind of things. So that's something that we can do with respect to the best practices. And then you can also create templates, something like if you want to create a sales dashboard, and you always know like what are the you can actually keep some KPIs defined, like sales. Then you will also generally you will also have like gross margin or 52-week sales. You get those data from the database generally. So you can have in mind or document a certain set of KPIs. I would always want to see my 52-week sales, or rolling 52 weeks, or those kind of things. So you have those documented, and then when there is some similar kind of dashboard that comes in, you can actually know that, okay, we can build these kind of dashboards also along with this, which would add value to this report that we're doing. So that kind of things, so we can have all these things as best practices.
I see Tableau has some kind of comparative, set analysis kind of feature, right? Tableau has something like comparing two data sets.
Comparing two data sets?
Is it some kind of comparative analysis or set analysis?
Oh yeah, sets. We had spoken about the sets. Okay, I'll just talk about that. I'm not sure.
Already done. That's fine.
No. I can just briefly show that. I'm not sure if that is what you were asking. So it's something like we can create sets based on like, for example, here I can create a set based on for the customer name. This is like a set, general. You have your union and intersection kind of thing. Those set operations we could do here. So I can create a set by sales or something like that. Sales. So I can do it by sales, where it's like a something like this, greater than 100,000 or something. So it will give us a set. So if I'm putting if I'm drawing all the customer names here, and then I want to show the sales, I can actually use this as a filter here. This is one thing. So now there's only one person who's having greater than, so however we have defined the set. So you can just go see. Yeah. So I'll just bring it down. So this is one way. So now also you can create another set of customers, which is like you want to create something on a different field, which is like a profit. Profit is greater than like $1,000 or something. Okay, so this is now you have two sets. Okay. So now we have two sets here. So we can actually then go ahead and create a combined set, So I can create a combined set based on, so this is like sales dot profit and sales kind of a thing, So I can define this properly. It says with profit greater than 1,000, sales greater than 10,000, and so this would be like a set that is a combined set. So you can actually go and create select what's the second set, and then you can do these set operations. Actually, this was not available earlier. I think these combined sets were not available earlier to serve version 8. So now when version 8 onwards, we have these set operations. We can actually create these things. So you can say, give me a set which has got like intersection of both. So it will create this, and then I can use this as a filter onto my so I don't have to create like different filters for each of these. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I was actually more looking from a different perspective. Like let us say, if I want to create, like I have a data set like similar to what you have right now.
Okay.
Like some orders and sales stuff like that.
Okay.
But let us. I want to have show the customer the last 3 years of comparison between different measures like profit, sales, and different numbers. Actually, last 3 years how they did it. I just want to compare and show. I have a fictitious company, and the company has like a couple regions, like where they're operating. Okay. And they have some employees, and they have some products what they're selling. And let us say they have some orders actually which they get every day. And every day they sell some stuff, and so what like let us say somebody asked the dashboard person is like, okay, I need the last 3 years of their sales and their comparison, how they are doing to each other. Well, typically put them in a kind of a cross-tab kind of a format where you have years on one, and you have these things. So where you're comparing these two among themselves. So okay. So one thing I can just show is probably like you have the sales here. So I'll go ahead and create the sales information. So I can, instead of this, I'll go for a bot. Okay. So now you can actually, what I can do is, I can create this a duplicate field here, which is like again a sales, and I can create something like a table calculation, which will tell me like a percent difference, So okay. Yeah, so this is like a percent difference. It is going to give me the percentage difference. I can try putting it next to each other, so that now, okay, since this value is pretty small, the difference is pretty small to be plotted here, and it's a percent. Percent wouldn't be. Can I change the scales in that case? The red one to be a different scale and the big one in another scale? Yes, we can do that. When we are doing in a dual axis, we can do that. I think what we can do is here, instead of I would instead of percent difference over here wouldn't is not looking all that good, because it's in a different scale basically, because it's, as you said, this is like in dollars, and that would be in percentages. Right. So that's why it wouldn't be looking good here. But if you see here, this in this way, it will give you that information. So depending upon how you want to put it, if you want to cross tab it, we can do that. Where it will tell this, So this has been my sales over on this year, and if you see in 2010, 2009 it was this much, and of course I will not have a. Just a minute, I'll just remove this cross tab. Yeah, so now if you see here, and I have the sales for my 2009, but the difference of sales from last year wouldn't be appearing here, because I'm not having data to compare it against my previous year. So now, but here it does, because I had sales for 2009 is available, and 2010 it's going to tell me that, okay, you are down by like 15% or 16%, and then it was again down by this much percent, and then in 2012 we actually made up progress over here. So one more thing, one more way to represent it is, instead of having this separate or separated over here, I can just put that into the label. Okay, so I have, and show it to you like this. So this way I will have the sales also on the label. Okay, so I have the sales over here, and then I have the label which is also for the percentage. So I can actually go ahead and put this guy in a currency.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just put that like a million. I mean, depending on how we want to show that. So like this. So this way it will actually give you an information as to like how we were doing against last year, and then what's the percentage drop or the growth that we have had.
Okay. This is good.
Yeah.
And also on the chart, sometimes when you right click, it says create a set or something. So what exactly does it do?
Right. So what we did, if you saw here, we created this set manually, right? I mean, we went and we gave some condition, and then we created a set.
Right.
Sometimes what we might want to do is, you might want to just put these two guys together, okay, and then create a set. Yeah, you can just create a set here, or even on the tooltip, it will allow you to create a set.
Okay.
See, I just select these and then just keep it here, and then you will see a set. Something that asks you can create. Actually, go ahead and create a set here. Okay, or else, yeah, and right click and create set. So now this set would always it's like no, it's not a calculated set kind of a thing. It's more of a. Just a minute, I have to get rid of this first. Yeah. So what this does it is that it just creates a set, a static set with these 2 years. So I can go and say add to filter shelf, and then it will only keep those two because it will put that new set that we created into the filter shelf. I can remove it if I don't want, but then that the set will always be available for us. So is this similar to something that you were asking, Ravi? So this thing here, the percentage total and the difference.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool. So actually, this functionality, right? I mean, the table calculation, that's pretty powerful in Tableau. There's a lot of things differently we can do differently here. See, for example, here now I have a product. I can just bring in another dimension here, which is the product. Like the product category, and then you can actually define how you want this calculation to happen. So now if you see here, it says compute using. There's something called compute using. So it's generally like the table down. So if I do a table down, then you see it's now giving me not just from this year to this year, but within that year, within within 2009, what's been my percentage difference from one product category to the other. Sales. So this might, this currently here what I have might not be the right representation, but then you can actually go and do that. So like instead of this, you might want to see at a quarter level. So I'll just remove this guy and then I'll drill down into quarters. So now what it is doing is like this quarter. So what's the sale from 2009 Q1 and 2010 Q1? So it gives me that information. I can change the compute. I can just say pane down. So now what it is doing, it's doing this minus this. Okay, Q1 minus Q2, and here again it's doing the Q1 minus Q2, Q1 difference between Q1 Q2, Q2 Q3 that way. So I can define what difference am I looking at. So do I want to look at. So or if you looking, I can also say okay, give me at the order date level. So when I say order date, so it again includes this order date while doing a calculation. So it will do this minus this minus this that way. So there's a lot of things that we can do with this, and also it is like you can create multiple things. Now what we've done is just the percentage difference. You can actually go ahead and create percent of total, or you can make it as a percent of total. So if a total is 100%. Now if you add this up, you can try putting the totals. So now I have the total is 100% here. So sales has been, it adds up all the sales for all the years, and then it gives me this number, which is the 100% of the sales. I can change how I want to see this. I would say table down, instead of table down, show me pane down. Now if you see, I'll just try to add the subtotals. Yeah. So now if you see, it's calculating the per pane. When we say table, considers the whole view here. And when I say pane, now this 2009 for me is one pane, so there are 4 panes here. So now the calculation, since I said calculate it table pane down, it is going to calculate it this way per pane. So now you see the total per pane and then the 100% of that, and then it gives a split of the sales, quarterly sales, and how much percentage does it make to within your total sales for that year. Yeah, so those are like different things that it will give you, so now it's moving to, you can give moving average, year to date, total, and things like that. So there's a lot of different things that you can do achieve here. So this is a good feature that Tableau has, like the table calculations. Telling you. So you can, based on like how you want to display these things, you can actually create different kinds of visualizations. And if you want to plot both the percent difference and this total, so what we have here is percent. So I can change it back to a moving average or something like that. So it will show how it's been happening, and then or a compounded growth rate. So all those different things, we try making them to dual axis. Dual axis.
Well, what are the other things actually still kind of remaining?
Yeah, I mean, from a kind of a dashboarding perspective, like I'm almost done with this. I mean, creation of the views and then putting them together in the dashboard and the interaction and filters and most things, that would be used in a day-to-day activity on a Tableau desktop. So that most of them I would say are covered. So there's something that probably I can also look at the data set that you sent me. I'll just go through that and then probably so that's what I'll do is within that time I'll just go through the data set that you sent, and if I can build some views on that, and then we can discuss on that, and then I can also prepare something which is like which documents this best practices that I spoke about, so that we can use that as a reference.
Okay.